Hello, Erin.
Hi.
Welcome to your Rock Your Body Spotlight and Fearless Rebel Radio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited for you to share your story with our listeners. Why don't you tell everyone just a little bit about who you are, where you live?
Okay. Well, my name is Erin. I am a wife and a stay-at-home mother to three sons. I live near Louisville, Kentucky, and I am definitely a city girl that had to relocate to the country, but I'm happy here. So different kind of life, but where I'm meant to be.
Great. Thank you for that. Why don't you talk about the frustrations that you had with your body before we started working together?
Okay. My frustrations were centered around before and after children. So I was very much looking at myself, looking at my body as a before and after project where all I could see was how I looked before I had three children and the body I was in now. And I felt like I should be able to exercise harder or diet more or that there was a specific thing that I could do that would help my body get back to pretty much how it was. And so I was just really caught up in that. And I felt a lot of shame about my body and myself because I couldn't do it.
There's so much
So,
pressure on moms.
yeah, there is. There
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and so you mentioned you felt a lot of shame. How was that impacting your life? What was that causing you to do?
Well, I have had disordered eating behaviors and exercise things and stuff like that since I was 16. So I would say before I had kids, it was really focused on I needed to look like people in magazines or whatever. That's how I was always comparing myself to. So, but then after kids, it was just more getting back to how I was. And so, or how I was before I had children. And it just caused me to focus on spending so much time counting calories, researching diets, thinking about diets, trying different exercise programs, just really not being in my life because I was so focused on trying to change my body. And
Mm-hmm.
also just my thoughts. I was constantly thinking about stuff like that. And I was also always very much on the cusp of going back to having just an eating disorder. I had been there before and I knew I didn't want to go back to that, but yet some of the behaviors or some of the things I felt like I should do to fix my body, quote unquote, would sort of start to trigger or make me think about, you know, an eating disorder again or going back to there.
Yeah, yeah. And what made you decide that you wanted to change and do something completely different?
Um, First thing, I was just tired of it. I just was like, I think when I started working with you, I was 37 and I was just like, I am 37 freaking years old and my life is more than this. And I'm very blessed. I'm happily married. I have three gorgeous, healthy sons. I have a home I love. I have friends I love, a community, family. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. Yet I wasn't present and really enjoying it because I was thinking about how much I weighed that morning or how I ate too much Nutella the night before or whatever. It was just, and I just realized I wanted more for myself and my life and also the lives of my family
Yeah, that's
because I
so
felt like I
right.
wasn't there. So,
Yeah, I think that's a really common feeling is just this that you're so inside your own head with it.
uh-huh.
And it sounds to me like you have to get to this point where you are just so done with it to want to make that
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
So, what were some of the highlight moments for you along the way?
Um, of the program, like experiences in the program, you mean? Or,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Um, some of the highlights were, realizing after I was able to, like, that I was dropping emotional baggage that I'd been carrying along for so long. Like when I was able to really identify and work through different thought patterns I was having or the lens through which I was seeing my body or the world or whatever. And I was able to create a new one that I believed in just as much, and just, I feel like through the modules and things and coaching calls and hearing other women, I was just able to realize this whole other life and reality that I hadn't really known existed.
That's so
So,
cool. And what were some of those stepping stones for you, or what were some of those moments where you felt the shift in the way that you were thinking?
um, I think initially when I got rid of my scale, got rid of clothes that were too small for me or too big for me, got rid of dieting books and DVD programs and all that stuff. That felt like I was drawing a line in the sand that I was changing. And that was really hard. I thought, when I first read that I was going to do that, I was like, okay, I can do that. But then actually doing it was really hard. But then afterwards, it's like, wow, to go in your closet and everything fits, it's really empowering, and I think just little things through the modules, or like I said, the coaching calls, just realizing other people felt how I did, or and just seeing you consistently modeling how it can be to feel comfortable in your body and stuff like that was very empowering to me.
Yeah, that part about getting rid of all those the things that we use to control our body, and it's crazy how much that drives our negative thinking patterns. And
Yes.
I feel like getting rid of that stuff is such a huge catalyst towards committing to this new way.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's like drawing that line in the sand, and that's why it's some of the most simple things that you can do, but they have the biggest impact.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do.
Yeah. So talk to me about what's changed for you now.
Um, I have much more, I don't know how else to say it, but just like freedom in my brain. There's just I have so much more room to think about other things and do other things where I'm not so focused on what I'm eating or not eating. Um, I truly don't remember the last time I've overeaten or done anything like that, where before I was doing that a lot. I don't remember the last time I did that. I also have this awareness where I can see the world differently, or the media differently, or things that other people in my social circle are doing differently, that it isn't triggering to me anymore. And I just feel just happier and freer, and I'm able to, it's like I have permission to love my body, which I had not had that before. And really just some of the things, like I envisioned this like backpack full of these big heavy rocks that I was carrying around everywhere, and I was able to chuck all those rocks in the backpack, and now I'm like, I just feel freer. So that's the biggest thing.
That's such a good metaphor, and somebody else used a very similar one.
Uh-huh.
Emily used almost a very similar one when she was talking about it. So it's interesting that you guys both, that you like that is the best way to describe it is like, we're carrying around all these expectations and all this negativity, and it's like, getting rid of that is so much more liberating than actually shrinking your body.
Yeah. And also in my relationship with my husband, I feel like before, when he would compliment me or whatever, I didn't believe him. I thought, you're just saying that, you're just whatever, because I didn't feel worthy of that myself. But now I'm just feel more free to be me. I don't know, and accepting of that too.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
that's been great.
When we first started this conversation, you mentioned that you were really thinking about getting back to that before body. What's that like now?
It's still a little triggering when I see pictures of myself before. I'm like, oh, like I look how I used to look, but it doesn't have the emotional charge that it used to. And really, when I look at pictures of myself before, I remember how I wasn't happy with myself then, and I was dieting then, and I was, so it's like I just don't have it anymore. It's kind of just gone. I just kind of am me now.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's great. That's so
it's
good.
huge. It's huge.
And what is it like to get that baggage off your shoulders?
I feel like I'm able to be a better version of myself, a better wife, a better mother, a better friend, because I'm just here more. Like I mentally here. I was very able to be having a conversation with one of my sons and they're talking to me and I'm nodding my head or whatever, but I'm not listening because I'm thinking about how I just ate a cupcake and I shouldn't have eaten a cupcake or what, just stupid things. And that happened all the time. So I just feel like, I just feel like I'm growing into the person that I truly and authentically am.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Okay. It makes sense to me. Yes. Yes. Because everyone has that and it's just layered underneath all of this stuff that we're carrying around.
Yeah. And I'm also just able to be so much more transparent and myself in all social situations. And it's kind of like, I don't care about so many things that I used to care about. So.
Yeah. What about like other people's opinions and things like that? I feel like you really liked that part of the program about just not giving a fuck about what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, it was just so empowering, and it was to be like, oh, I can do that, like that's okay. I was so caught up in very dichotomous thinking and this is right, this is wrong, I need to do this or not do this, and I think it was because my self-worth was so tied up in what other people thought. And I just was able to realize this or understand this whole other reality that existed of not giving a fuck that I didn't know existed before, and you were able to model it in a way that I identified with, that was, that seemed real and I could identify it, and that wasn't, I don't know, that it was just real. That's the best word I can think of.
Yeah, I'm not going around being rude and mean to people.
No, and you're not also not feelings. Like I don't know. It was real. So yeah.
That's okay. You can elaborate on what you were just going to say.
Well, it's like, I didn't want to put other things down that I've done before, but things where it's like, you're supposed to lovingly put lotion on your arms to show your body you love it, or things like that. Okay, yeah, that's nice. But that didn't cause a mental shift for me. Like it was more, does that make sense? Like, I just think the way that you modeled you did the program just clicked for me.
Yeah, so. That's awesome. No, I totally understand that. And I think different things work for different people. But,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, what I love to get at is like what's going on under the surface and and make it less about the body. And it's about like you and like being comfortable with who you are and getting to know who you are. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. That's amazing. Do you have a piece of advice for people listening today?
I think my advice is that it's scary and it's hard work, but do the work, and the freedom and life that is available to you if you do it is beyond your expectations. Because I didn't know what it really felt like. I just feel like I said, this veil was lifted in this whole other reality. I was like, oh, I can do this. I can be here. This is real. But it's hard in the beginning, but you just have to persevere and go through it, and also just be honest with how you're feeling, and it'll all be good.
That's amazing. So. Yes, having hope and determination will always win out over fear, and you had a lot of that fighting spirit. You were really committed to it, and you showed up and you did the work and you did the stuff that was uncomfortable. And look at you now. It's amazing. You're such an inspiration. It's been like 6 months, I guess, since we started together. So it's just it's awesome to see how far you've come and how much you've just owned who you are and gotten that baggage off your shoulders, like we said. So thank you for sharing your story with everybody. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well done.